All right. Look at this. Okay. All right. Yep. Good to go. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Ken Tannenbaum, and I serve as Vice Chair of Kilmer Group, along with my father, Larry Tannenbaum, Wayne Carson, the President of Kilmer Developments, and our wonderful partners at Tricon Residential. We're honored to welcome you today to the Stella. I want to begin by acknowledging our honored guests and the three leaders who have joined us here today: Prime Minister Carney, Premier Ford, and Mayor Chow. Your collective presence is not ceremonial. It is a statement of shared purpose. Prime Minister Carney, your government's apartment construction loan program has been among the most consequential federal interventions in purpose-built rental in a generation. And this project was made possible in part by that CMHC financing. Premier Ford, your government's work to cut red tape and bring costs down has created the conditions that projects like this one require. And Mayor Chow, the city's bold decision to unlock public land through Create TO is precisely what turns federal policy and provincial reform into homes that people can afford to live in. To all three of you, thank you for being here, and thank you for the partnership that made this possible. The site we stand on today, the Stella, is an example of the success of collaborative city building when public and private sector partners share common values and a sense of purpose. As city builders, Kilmer and Tricon are incredibly proud to be a valued partner and a part of the solution to Canada's housing challenges as we continue to work together and build complete communities.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Joyner, Senior Managing Director and Head of Multifamily at Tricon Residential. Thank you, Ken. And I echo your statements of gratitude for the leadership of Prime Minister Carney, Premier Ford, and Mayor Chow. They are focused and decisive, and by working together, they are tackling Canada's housing crisis head-on. Where we stand today, the Stella is the first Housing Now site in Toronto to break ground. When complete, it will offer 725 purpose-built rental homes, 218 of which are affordable. And they're integrated throughout the community as a checkerboard, as they always should be, so residents can thrive together. In addition, over 50% of these homes are 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units for families. We're tracking 3 months ahead of schedule, and we will welcome our first residents in May of 2027, in just over a year's time from today. But as Ken said, what makes the Stella significant isn't just what it is, it's how it came to be. The Stella was made possible because the city conceptualized it, Create TO structured it, the province enabled it, and the federal government financed it. This is not one level of government acting alone. It's all of them acting together with the private sector toward a shared outcome. This is the Team Canada approach to housing, and it is what is taking shape at the Stella and a proof of concept for that. It's now my honor to invite Prime Minister Carney to the podium.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you, Ken. Bonjour tout le monde. It's a great pleasure to be. I mean, don't you love the sound of construction in the morning? It's the way it should be. This is fantastic, and I want to salute both. Well, let me say properly acknowledge Premier Ford, Mayor Chow for your leadership, the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, Gregor Robertson, our Ontario caucus, the ministers here with us today. But I want to salute the Kilmer Tricon team. Thank you for hosting us here at the Stella. as you just heard, one of Toronto's newest and most innovative and affordable rental properties. All of those elements together. Ahead of schedule, affordable, zero carbon. It's a remarkable development, and you heard what was necessary in order to accomplish it, everyone working together, and I think what we see is everyone working together. Larry, I want to say a special word about you and just salute you for your leadership of this city, this country, both in business and philanthropy over the years. I think we should take a page out of Larry's book in terms of ambition. You might notice very modest Raptors logo there. And if you want to get a sense of what our ambition is, just check out the score from last night. That's what we want. This is the first project as part of the city's Housing Now program. As I say, 725 purpose-built rental homes, over, as Andrew just said, over 200 affordable units. A property that will generate zero carbon, and like much of the progress we're announcing today, and we're going to announce a lot today, it's a result of a true partnership between the public and private sectors, from CMHC to Tricon and Kilmer as the home builders, and the city and the province. Now, almost exactly a year ago today, not far from here in Vaughan, it was the first week of the election campaign, and I announced our housing plan, the plan we would put in place if we were to be honored by Canadians to be elected. Et j'ai dit que le Canada devait construire pour se sortir de la crise de logement, afin que les Canadiens, et en particulier les jeunes Canadiens, puissent accéder à des logements abordables. Et grâce à notre plan, nous nous sommes engagés à nous attaquer directement aux lacunes du marché du logement, à renforcer la coopération publique privée et mettre à profit des technologies novatrices pour bâtir plus rapidement et plus intelligemment. Nous nous sommes aussi engagés à augmenter l'offre de logement pour faire baisser les coûts. So in our first week as government, we eliminated the GST on first-time home buyers on new homes up to $1 million, saving Canadians up to $50,000. In September, we launched Build Canada Homes to turbocharge housing construction and also to help catalyze an entirely new housing industry. Since then, we have committed to supporting in specific projects nearly 10,000 homes through 12 partnerships across the country. Projects worth over 1,200 units are already breaking ground in the next 3 months. We're also building local infrastructure, crucial element of today's announcement. Local infrastructure through new hospitals, transit, wastewater systems. We have a $51 billion Build Communities Strong Fund. And last week, and this is directly relevant to today's announcement, we tabled legislation which will unlock $1.7 billion in federal funds to help provinces and territories lower the cost of home building. Minister Robertson and I want to work with our partners to optimize the funding to increase housing supply. And I'm very pleased to see Premier Ford's personal leadership and that of his government and this relentless focus on bringing down costs in housing for Ontarians. So, look, across the country, we're moving fast. We're starting to get results. Across Canada, and there's different markets, obviously. Across Canada, housing starts are up 4.5% in February, over 5.5% over the last year. Rents are down to a 33-month low. Rental affordability is improving. The rent-income ratio, its lowest level in 6 years. Rent here in Etobicoke for a 2-bedroom is down 8.4% compared to last year. I can outlast her. Nous avons agi avec rapidité et ambition, et nous avons commencé comme nous avons l'intention de continuer. Nous nous attaquons à la crise de logement avec des différentes approches. Et en ce moment, ce qu'il faut faire, c'est corriger certaines lacunes particulières. So there's certain gaps in the housing market that we really have to attack, and it's the case here in Toronto, it's the case in a couple other markets. So to expand housing supply, increase housing affordability, and create tens of thousands, and Joe's here, if not hundreds of thousands of careers in the skilled trades, we're announcing this new Canada-Ontario partnership to build. It's a partnership that leverages our different capacities, our different jurisdictional responsibilities to achieve the same goals. More homes, lower housing costs, tens of thousands of new careers in the skilled trades. So we're looking to reduce the cost to build, help Ontarians save on the purchase of a home, and to build the essential transit infrastructure to support those communities. I'm going to say a bit about each, and then I'll pass to the Premier. Now, if you're not in the business, you might not know about development charges. If you are in the business, you know about them, and if you're buying a home, you pay for them. Development charges are the fees that are charged for developers to fund infrastructure, like water mains, roads, parks, and facilities required to support new homes. And they become, over time, a major hurdle in this housing market. In recent years, they've been growing at an unsustainable rate, increasing the cost of every new home, compressing margins for builders, and they've been stalling new builds, stalling construction. So cutting development charges was a key commitment of our housing plan, and today we're delivering on that. Because of the historic agreement with Ontario, development charges across this province, and I'm going to repeat this because this is important, development charges across this province are reduced by half for 3 years. And And we reduced by half, we're still building the essential infrastructure. Through the Build Community Strong Fund, Canada will invest $4.4 billion over 10 years. Matched by Ontario, a total of $8.8 billion to build the housing enabling infrastructure and reduce those development charges. This is going to lower upfront costs and create certainty for builders to build the affordable homes so Ontarians can buy and rent. A 2-bedroom apartment in Etobicoke, this alone reduces costs by $40,000. This is our first agreement under our Build Community Strong Fund and the first agreement in Canadian history that brings federal infrastructure funding tied directly to development charge reductions. So we're off to a strong start in our most important market. And central to the missions of the Government of Ontario, the Government of Canada, is to make it easier for people to buy homes. And that's why we are partnering to eliminate the full 13% of federal GST and provincial HST on all purchases of new homes on value up to $1 million. This will save up to $130,000. Savings of up to $130,000 for all buyers in Ontario on the purchase of new homes. Wow. And for those who purchase homes above that amount, $1 million to $1.5 million, they get benefit of that full rebate. It slides down after that, but in homes that are valued above $1.85 million, you still get $24,000 off. This partnership will provide almost $2.2 billion in total tax savings for Ontarians, and it will catalyze housing starts in Ontario, support over 21,000 jobs in the skilled trades, boost Ontario's GDP by over $2.7 billion. And in doing so, it's going to help unfreeze the condo market in the GTA and make sure it's on the right track to provide the housing that Ontarians need at prices they can afford. Overall, you look at these two elements, development charges, reduction in taxes, can reduce the fees and taxes on a home in Ontario by up to $200,000. I want to say there's one last suite of announcements I want to make, which directly ties housing supply with the infrastructure that is needed. It's basically create a force multiplier for construction. Nous accordons la priorité aux projets de transport en commun et l'infrastructure qui relie les communautés, améliore la productivité et offre de nouvelles occasions aux entreprises et travailleurs de toute la province. We've reached an agreement with the province and the city. And thank you, Mayor Chow. Province and the city to build the Waterfront East LRT, connecting Union Station to the Portlands. This is a line that will provide service to more than 150,000 people who will live and work on the eastern waterfront. 50,000 daily riderships a day. Wow. And this is well thought through because it connects into a broader transportation network that includes new roads, trails, bridges, streetcars, all integrated with other major transit hubs across the GTA. It's a project that itself will enable another 75,000 housing units. And in addition, we're working with the province on GO 2.0 to build multiple GO lines, enabling expanded two-way all-day service to Milton and Kitchener, building dozens of new stations, and adding convenient connections to existing transit systems across the Golden Horseshoe. Now, we have agreed also to intensify our collaboration on the Alto high-speed rail, the first high-speed rail line connecting Toronto to Quebec City, because Canadians deserve faster, more reliable commutes back home and to our major cities. So, while we build major infrastructure, we're also accelerating local infrastructure projects that frankly have stalled too long. Working with the province, we're going to unlock the Ontario line, the Eglinton Crosstown West extension, the Scarborough subway extension, the Yonge North subway extension, and the Hamilton LRT. Projects that connect the GTA, Greater Hamilton area, shorten commutes, grow communities, get more homes, build better quality of life. The point is, as well, again, Joe Mancinelli, I look to you, every project, from housing to public infrastructure, supports and needs workers in the skilled trades and in the Canadian materials and manufacturing. And they will be supported by our Buy Canada policy, because it's not just what we build, it's how we build. Inclusively, in full partnership with First Nations, Indigenous, Inuit, and Métis. We'll build in solidarity with workers, creating good union jobs. We'll build sustainably, like here at the Stella, because reducing emissions isn't just a moral duty, it's an economic imperative. And above all, we will build Canadian, becoming our own best customer. C'est le premier d'une série d'un partenariat en matière de logement et d'infrastructures à venir dans le cadre de fonds pour bâtir les collectivités fortes. Nous allons annoncer une série de projets supplémentaires partout au pays dans les prochains mois, pour lesquels nous mettrons en contribution des biens et terrains publics et travaillerons en partenariat avec le secteur privé et d'autres gouvernements pour bâtir à grande échelle. Chaque dollar investi, chaque dollar fédéral investi sera multiplié puisque nous attirerons des capitaux privés, des investisseurs et des promoteurs pour augmenter l'offre de logement. Canadians have given us a mandate to build a stronger country, a country where Canadians are empowered with more opportunities that help them get ahead, and safer communities and homes they can afford. That's the foundation on which Canadians build their lives, how they want it, where they want it. So by building smart, building Canadian, building now, we're building Ontario strong and Canada strong. I can hear the construction again. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. And I now have the pleasure of handing the mic to Premier Ford.
Well, first of all, hello everyone, and I'm delighted to welcome the Prime Minister here to the greatest jurisdiction anywhere on earth, and that's called Etobicoke, right, buddy? Okay. My Etobicoke buddy. But I always say it's the greatest place to raise a family, get a beautiful home, and open a business. Alongside Mayor Chow, thank you, Mayor, for your cooperation. Ministers Bethenfalvey, Flack, Sakaria, and McCarthy, as well as Andrew from Tricon, Larry and Ken from Kilmer Corp. You know, I'm just going to repeat what the Prime Minister said. Thank you for your family's philanthropy. Thank you for giving us a winning team, at least one of them, with the Raptors. And they won by 57 points last night, I think. Was that right? Yeah, and everything for building homes and your entrepreneurship. Thank you so much. And all the other elected officials here today. I do want to call out Joseph Mancinelli from LiUNA. Thank you for your partnership. I know it's your men and women working here along with Elliston. I see a lot of Elliston hats. So thank you for everything you do for skills development and trades within this province, as well as so many of the industry leaders helping build Ontario for today's historic announcement. As President Trump's tariffs take direct aim at Ontario's workers and create chaos and uncertainty for businesses, our government is delivering on our plan to protect Ontario. We may not be able to control President Trump, but what we can control the decisions we make here in Ontario and Canada. By building the most competitive, resilient, and self-reliant economy in the G7. To protect Ontario, we're investing in our world-class workers, our businesses, and our infrastructure. Ontario is leading the country when it comes to breaking down internal trade barriers, so we can unlock more than $200 billion in new economic activity. Will add roughly about 4 to 6% to our GDP across the country. We're building new pipelines, rail lines, airports, seaports, so we can find new trading partners and rely less on old ones. We're powering economic growth by building nuclear energy. We're leading the world when it comes to nuclear, including the first small modular reactors in the G7 and the first large-scale nuclear facilities in decades. We're cutting red tape and keeping taxes and fees low to save businesses and families $12 billion each and every single year. That includes $1.1 billion tax cut for small businesses that we announced in last week's budget. Oh, Chris. I almost drank your water. Did you have a sip of that?
I didn't touch it.
Okay, I'll take a sip. This isn't going to turn me into a liberal, is it? I've already been accused of being a liberal. Okay, sir. Well, they do accuse me. But anyways, here we go. Sorry, folks. That's more than 30% reduction, which will save more than 375,000 small business, an average of $5,000 annually. So they can invest that money back into their businesses and create more jobs and economic opportunity. We're investing more than ever in our $236 billion plan to build, which is the largest plan of its kind in Canadian history. Our plan is building roads, highways, bridges, hospitals, schools, and all the critical infrastructure we need to make life affordable, keep workers on the job, and keep our economy growing. And I know the Mayor and the Prime Minister agree with this statement. The foundation of our healthcare system, our education, our infrastructure is one thing, folks. That's our economy. We need a strong economy to bring the revenues in to support all the areas that we're focused on. That's what brings us together today, because we need to even do more to protect Ontario and keep building for the future. Working together with the Prime Minister, we've reached an historic partnership agreement between Ontario and Canada to get shovels in the ground on housing, make homes more affordable, and build new and improved public transit. This agreement includes $8.8 billion to build housing-enabling infrastructure and lower municipal development charges that add hundreds of thousands of dollars to the cost of a new home. Funding will be prioritized for municipalities that agreed to cut DCs by up to 50%, as well as municipalities that have already lowered DCs in recent months. So to all my great 444 mayors and people in the municipalities, if you don't cut DCs, you aren't getting any money. I'll simplify that. But if you do, we will be there to support you. By lowering taxes and fees that make new homes more expensive, we can get more shovels in the ground across Ontario and keep the dream of home ownership alive. As we announced last week, our agreement also includes an HST rebate of up to $130,000 for most new homes, which will provide $2.2 billion in tax relief over the next year and support 21,000 good-paying jobs. And as we build more homes, we're also building transit for our growing communities. We're supporting the new City of Toronto's new waterfront East Transit line, which will be cost shared equally across all three levels of government. We're working together with the federal government to speed up planning and approvals for GO 2.0, which will deliver faster and more reliable service with more GO trains and more GO lines across the Greater Golden Horseshoe. And we're finalizing federal funding agreements for some of the most important transit projects, including, as you heard from the Prime Minister, the Ontario Line, the Eglinton Crosstown West extension, the Scarborough Subway extension, the Yonge North Subway extension, and the Hamilton LRT. And of course, as we build these transformational projects, they will be subject to our Buy Canada and Buy Ontario policies so that Ontario tax dollars support Ontario workers. That's the message to the architects and the engineers. We have to make sure we buy Ontario or Canadian. This agreement is historic, and it's only possible because all three levels of government have come together as a united Team Canada to make it happen. Together, we're getting shovels in the ground on hundreds of thousands of new homes and making homes more affordable. Together, we're building transit projects that will get people out of gridlock, keep hundreds of thousands of workers on the job, and support growing communities. Together, we're lowering taxes and making life more affordable so we can protect Ontario and Canada by building the most competitive, resilient, and self-reliant economy in the G7. And together, we will continue protecting workers and families in every corner of this province, which is the best province, the best country in the entire world. I thank you, and may God bless the people of Ontario. And now, I'd like to hand it over to Mayor Chow to say a few words. My voice is getting a little hoarse there. Well, they accused me of being a Liberal already. So what's the difference?
Good morning. Prime Minister Carney, welcome to Toronto, where we took a paved parking lot and put up 700 homes. I think Joni Mitchell would approve that. Yes, it was a parking lot. Today, Premier Ford, great to be with you here also, and the caucus members, all elected representatives, ministers, Launa President, and Kilmore, the Tannenbaum family, and Andrew from Tricon. We are coming together to celebrate this announcement. Today's announcement is historic. We're building more housing, more transit, thousands of good jobs. We're making this investment at a moment when we need it most, when our largest trading partners turn its back on us, when uncertainty is real and the people are worried. We build our way forward, investing in ourselves, building, creating jobs. That's how we win. And when all three levels of government work together, that's exactly what we can do. Today's development charge announcement This historic announcement will mean thousands of new homes that can be built right here in Toronto. For people who just want a home they can afford, this will make a real difference. It lowers the cost of building. That means more homes built faster. Combined with the home buyers tax relief announced last week, housing is becoming more attainable for more people. The City of Toronto has already been doing this work. We've cut over $461 million in development charges and fees to get thousands more homes built. And 20% of them are below market affordable homes. And when you see cranes in the sky at construction sites across Toronto, like this one here, city incentives supported by the federal and the provincial government make that possible. We've also transformed how fast we approve housing. For decades, Toronto was slower than almost anywhere else. Now, through cutting red tape, our projects are approved 80% faster. From 3.5 years down to about 8 months. And by the end of this year, with the help of advanced technology, we're going to cut that again by 50%. We will be fastest in Canada, maybe even in North America. Yes, cutting red tapes work. Take Kennedy Green in Scarborough. Over 900 homes, 600 of them cooperatives, approved in a record 69 days, 2 months. Now that is speed, saving builders time and money, getting people into affordable homes faster. With today's partnership, we can go further immediately. Reducing development charges mean thousands of shovels in the ground. This construction season, building homes people desperately needed and creating tens of thousands of jobs immediately. The city is ready. Home builders are ready. Our program is in place, and there is absolutely no time to waste. To build more homes, of course, you need new infrastructure that makes cities livable. Today's announcement delivers exactly that for our waterfront. A rapid transit line running east from Union Station, serving thousands of new homes along the way. This is the critical missing piece needed to unlock the eastern waterfront. And I want to thank Waterfront Toronto working together with us. It will serve 150,000 people. When Quayside and the Portlands are fully developed, it's projected to move 50,000 people every single day. And this rapid transit line is expected to create 100,000 jobs, generate more than $13 billion in economic value, lasting impact for Toronto, for Ontario, and for Canada. For 2 years, the City of Toronto, together with Waterfront Toronto, have been designing this line. Today, we welcome this agreement, $1 billion each from federal, provincial, and the city government. And this investment will unlock the entire new neighborhoods, parks, communities, small business, and large ones. Generations of people will live in these new communities and ride the waterfront transit line. That is city building. And it is nation building. All 3 levels of government pulling together, building, delivering for people. And that's what this moment calls for. Thank you, Prime Minister Carney. Thank you, Premier Ford. Toronto is ready. Let's build.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Premier. We're now going to go to questions. We'll take 20 minutes of questions. Première question. First question. Robert.
Prime Minister, Robert Benzie from Toronto Star. I just wanted to ask you, do you support Premier Doug Ford's vision for the Billy Bishop Toronto Centre Airport, the expansion of that airport that would allow jets to land? We haven't really heard a clear statement from you or from your government yet on that.
Well, thank you for the question, Robert, and hopefully you can hear me. It's a shared jurisdiction, and we're engaged in discussions with the province of Ontario. Understand the vision. We take note. It's a very interesting vision, big possibilities there. So we have some component of responsibility there, and we're working for it. What we've been working clearly on in the last few weeks is today's announcement, which rightly described by the Premier, by the Mayor, by myself as historic. The scale of what we're announcing truly is a game changer for the housing market here in Toronto, across Ontario. We'll move on to the next things right away. Thank you.
Next question.
Prime Minister Aidan Schmandy from Toronto today. So just given that answer, which isn't exactly definitive one way or another, do you think the Premier's maybe jumping the gun a little bit on all the moves that he's made to take the airport lands from the city? Like, is this a little premature given...
Well, the Premier can speak for himself, obviously, and will, but it's a tripartite responsibility. If the city and the province consolidates their responsibilities, then there's an efficiency that comes there, and we deal directly with the province. And just to be clear, it's something that's moving. The federal government's now getting involved, but we're not going to make a premature determination on it. But we have... If you take anything, there's a lot you should take from today's announcement, but one of the things is the level of cooperation and engagement and the focus on making progress and getting things done. So we'll move on things. But I don't know, Premier, did you want to say anything?
Next question. Prochaine question.
Let the
Well,
Premier...
Sorry.
Well, we just look forward to continuing building transit, as this announcement was about, building GO 2.0. That's what we're focused on today. Our approach with the airport is collaborate with the federal government and the city and ourselves and bring a great opportunity to the city of Toronto. That's well overdue.
Next question.
For the Prime Minister, it's Siobhan Morris, CTV News. What consequences, if any, will Michael Ma face for his dismissal of forced labor in China?
Well, thanks for the question. The first thing is that Mr. Ma has apologized for his comments, as he should have. He's recognized the seriousness of the issue in that apology. So the first is to recognize up front the seriousness of the issue. He does. He's apologized. He apologized directly to Ms. McQuaig Johnson as well, but then more broadly about the issue. First point. Second is that, we take this issue of forced labor, child labor, incredibly seriously. Canada has the most rigorous set of engagements on the issue, both in terms of international accords, all 8 relevant conventions of the International Labour Organization, the OECD, the United Nations, embedding provisions in all our free trade agreements as well. We'll continue to do that. We'll continue to fight on that. And then the domestic legislation, from the Tariff Act to the Supply Chain Act to the requirements under the Xinjiang disclosure requirements that are on businesses as well. And what we need to do, if I may, and then I'll hand back, is that we're continually reviewing both the adequacy of that. It's amongst the most rigorous, if not the most rigorous, but also compliance and enforcement mechanisms that are in place. Adequacy of funding. We just put another $600 million into CBSA, for example, can provide more, and ensuring that we don't just have the standards, but we're enforcing the standards and businesses are following. Thank you.
Merci.
In French, please.
En français.
Tout d'abord, M. Ma a fait des excuses. Il a exprimé ses regrets et c'est approprié, c'est nécessaire, c'est approprié. Il l'a fait. Deuxièmement, cet enjeu est très sérieux et le Canada a un cadre de réglementation et de loi les plus forts à travers le monde. Et ce qui est important est de continuer de renforcer notre capacité de surveiller et de renforcer ce cadre de standard et de loi. Madame?
Hi, Prime Minister. Laura Stone, Globe and Mail. To follow on that question, anyone who watched that clip in committee saw his scrum with CBC after, saw one version of his comments, and then he released a statement. How is the public supposed to believe that statement is at all genuine? And are you still attending the fundraiser with him this evening?
Two things. First is Mr. Ma has apologized for his comments, and directly and unequivocally recognize the seriousness of the issue, continues to be a member of our caucus, and I'll continue to work with him, including in the issue that you referenced in the second part of your question. This is a government event, though, so I don't want to speak about party-specific things around fundraising. Thank you.
Next question. Prochaine question.
En français.
Oh, en français.
En français, c'est presque la même que la dernière réponse. Et, M. Ma a fait ses excuses. Il s'est approprié. Il demeure un membre du caucus. Je vais travailler étroitement avec lui et avec tous les membres de notre caucus libéral. Merci.
Next question.
Hi, Prime Minister. Lorenda Redekop with CBC News. Another follow on China. Your finance minister is going there next week to finalize some deals. Will forced labor be one of the things he will discuss when he's there?
Well, yes, technically I think it might be this week, but he's going there following on with the financial economic dialogue, which was part of our discussions when I was there in January, that we would have a regular dialogue around a series of economic and financial issues. Issues of supply chain integrity, including forced child labor, and ensuring that those standards are in place, will be part of those discussions, I'm certain, and ensuring that we have the adequate transparency for any good from any of our trade partners. I mean, we recognize that this is a global issue that we need to be vigilant on and not assume that certain countries, that it's not an issue in certain countries, including in certain developed countries, and that's why we need the comprehensive aspect. So yes, would be part of the discussions, as it is in other situations where we're developing trade, and after we've developed the trade agreements. Thank you.
Next
Good morning, Prime Minister. Liam Casey with the Canadian Press. A little hard to hear you back there, but wondering if you believe that there is forced labor in China? Do you believe there is forced labor in China?
Just in case it was hard to hear, I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to answer your question in a second, but I'm going to repeat the main element of today's announcement: $8.8 billion partnership, Ontario and Government of Canada, City working alongside, up to $200,000, off taxes and development fees for homes in Ontario for people getting onto the housing ladder, plus all of the major infrastructure being built in huge levels in consistent partnership. In terms of, look, I followed this issue over the years in China and elsewhere. And there is evidence of child labor around the world. There's evidence, and there's existence, I should say, of child labor and forced labor around the world. There is an absolute requirement for companies, and I'll put it there first, to know who their suppliers are, the conditions of their suppliers. They have a reporting obligation here in Canada, public reporting obligation here in Canada for their supply chains. They have to comply with our laws, which obviously, to simplify them, are against any element of forced or child labor in any element of the supply chain of goods that are imported into this country. And China, there are parts of China that are higher risk and therefore need to be diligent, yes.
Hey, good morning, Prime Minister. This is a question for you, the Premier, and the Mayor, and it's on housing, thankfully. There is taxpayer money going in from the federal government, from the provincial government, and from the municipalities. I'm wondering, what are you expecting developers to do here to lower the cost of housing, and how are you going to hold them accountable?
Well, I'll start. And the first thing is that the developer, let me be clear in terms of the quality of developers we have here in Ontario and across the country. I mean, these are from small developers to major developers. These are companies that want to build. They want to move the country forward. They want to provide affordable housing. They want to, sustainable housing for Canadians, and they want to do it quickly. And one of their frustrations has been red tape. We've seen measures to reduce red tape and speed up approval times. The Mayor just made a big commitment a moment ago. And another element has been the layers of fees that have been layered on top, where all of the weight gets put up front on the house price as opposed to spread over time and this is one of the core issues for government, is do you spread the cost over time as you're building up a community or infilling a community as we are here, and the great community of Etobicoke. My brother lives in Etobicoke, so I will assign that. Plus, I got Jay-Z and Yvonne Baker sitting looking over my shoulder. But you're building up communities, and so do you spread it over time and get the 212 affordable housing units that are part of this development going as well. And so we're taking an approach that's spreading it over time. And yes, do we expect that the competition amongst developers, the competition in the housing markets means that gets passed on to the home buyer? Yes, we do. But that's why we have broad range of developers that are competing. But let the mayor and premier speak.
I'll give you a concrete example. The old bus terminal at Bay and Dundas, Tricon, Kilmer came together. It belongs to the City of Toronto in terms of the land. They are doing the building. We are exempting the development charges, 100% exemption of development charges, 15% property tax deduction, and they will also provide 20% of the units to be affordable. In there will be a paramedic station, they're housing for nurses, they are coming together to build on city land, and that project is proceeding. Council gave it approval, it's full steam ahead. I know there are many other projects like that. Minky's down at Quayside. That is, Quayside is actually Dream with Michael Cooper. Again, 1,800 units. We exempted all the development charges, 15% deduction of property tax, 1,800 units. Right now, shuffle going into the ground with 20%. I can stand here and name you many other buildings. There's an Oak Street building. There are many. Minky's also are doing the same. So we have a program in place. It started in November 2024. 8,000 plus units are being built right now. That's 70% of all the building in the City of Toronto is because of the financial incentives that the City of Toronto provide. With this new agreement, my gosh, both for the federal and the provincial government, watch out. If we can get the money flowing this construction season, and I know Launa and other workers are saying we are ready to build. We have projects ready, we have developers ready. We can just go ahead and build it. We are ready now that the funding is in place.
Okay. So between the province of Ontario and Canada, we're creating the conditions and the environment for companies and builders in this province to start building. I need the municipalities now to step up, and I know the mayor, you're stepping up, but there's 443 other municipalities to step up. I guess, Colin, what you're asking, how do we keep the builders honest? I think we have great builders, world-class builders, and it's called the market dictates. The market will dictate, they'll compete against each other, and those who are most competitive and build the best product are going to sell more units, no matter if it's housing, townhomes, or condos. That's how we hold everyone accountable. Thank you.
Next question. Prochaine question.
Hi, Barbara with QP Briefing. Question is for the Premier, but also I want everyone else can join as well. So it is still up to the municipalities to participate in this deal, and they will have to lower their receipts for 3 years in return for a funding that is spread over 10 years. So if you really want to do this, why this deal don't have a stronger measure in place to make sure the municipalities will join?
Well, I want them to be able to go out there and voluntarily cut the DCs. You know, I tried just putting down the hammer a few years ago, getting rid of the DCs. Well, that didn't work too well. We've given them a carrot, more homes, they're getting a ton of money. In this case, we're focusing on infrastructure. The municipalities, and they all need infrastructure, no matter if it's water, wastewater, whatever it might be. You come to the table, and we're going to give you the infrastructure you need and save the taxpayers within your community a tremendous amount of money. So that's what we're going to do, and we need the municipalities to step up. And by the way, some have already stepped up. And I can't help but give Mayor Del Duca a shout out up in Vaughan. He was first out of the gate. He's doing a great job, and there's others too. There are probably another 4 or 5 other mayors across the province, but we need to cut those DCs. In some areas, folks, you know, you see the fees, which we're going to require putting on the tax, on the new home builds and everything, so people know exactly where their money is going. If you know, city puts 40% fees on, well, the buyer's going to know the 40% of that cost, $1 million home, $400,000, is coming from municipal fees. It's going to be as clear as day for the buyers, and hopefully all the municipalities will lower their fees by at least 50%.
I'll make one, you invite and then the mayor if you wish, but I'll just make one technical point, which is, and I know because it's an important question, that the development fee is upfront that's paying for the infrastructure over time. And so what the municipality knows is that the infrastructure is going to get built because the money is in place and you know, the agreement gets struck through the province for the infrastructure to get built. So there's not a mismatch. It's just that the amount of time over which the infrastructure money is there. So.
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up to that. Oh, yeah, please, Mayor, go ahead.
The development charges in Toronto, majority of that money is earmarked for transit because it's expensive building transit. Okay, so now that the federal and the provincial government said that we are going to be able to assist you in your transit project, it allowed and give us the fiscal room to then turn around and say to the developers that we don't need to charge you all these development charges, whether it is building the roads, the transit, the community parks, and all of that. If you look at here, there's a child care center, there is a park, there are many other facilities here. These infrastructure cost money. And if the City of Toronto, for example, are able to have that infrastructure funds being covered by the federal and the provincial government, then we can provide the fiscal room and lower the development charges. That's how it would work.
Time for one last question. Dernière question. Thank you.
Okay. A question for Prime Minister Carney. If you could answer in French and in English, but I'll go in English. So it's about the retirement of Michael Rousseau. What do you think about this decision, and do you think that his successor should be bilingual?
Tout d'abord, c'est absolument essentiel que son successeur est bilingue, et complètement bilingue. Je crois que ça c'est clair. Et en ce qui concerne sa décision, et selon moi c'est approprié. Il a fait une bonne job techniquement comme PDG, mais on a des responsabilités plus larges comme un dirigeant d'une organisation. So, if I may, in English, it is essential that the next CEO of Air Canada is bilingual. I think recent events, that should have gone without saying to begin with, but recent events have underscored the importance of that. And with respect to his decision to retire, it's my judgment, it's appropriate. He was an effective operator of the airline and did many things, and I salute him for that. But being a leader has many responsibilities, and the second part of your question alludes to some of the responsibilities of the CEO of Air Canada, and so it's the right decision at the right time. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Prime Minister. This puts an end to our press conference. C'est ce qui m'a fait à notre conférence de presse. Merci.